I, 24F, desperately need advice, so I am reaching out here hoping someone will be able to help me. I have been married to my handsome husband, Andrew, 26M, for 3 years. I work at a local diner as a waitress, and Andrew works at a restaurant. I would love to say our marriage has been amazing, but unfortunately my mill, Gloria, F, 50, has made our marriage and dating years a nightmare. On top of that, I am currently 19 weeks pregnant, so I am super emotional right now, and Gloria makes me cry all the time with her snarky comments and constant put-downs. Gloria and I have never had a good relationship. She is super wealthy, and she absolutely hates that I work at a diner, making only minimum wage. She makes comments all the time, saying I should be making more money to ease Andrew's stress. She says I'm making life hard on him. Andrew works also makes a low income in the restaurant, so no, we are not wealthy like her, but we make it work. What Gloria doesn't realize is she is the one putting stress on both of us. You see, Gloria was always the breadwinner of her family, as well as being a single mom to Andrew and his little brother, Michael, M, 25. Apparently, Andrew's dad left the picture shortly after they had the boys, when Gloria divorced him and took him for all he was worth, and they never heard from him since. My guess is he could not deal with Gloria's narcissistic personality. But anyway, Gloria is so proud of making money and being a single mom, that she thinks I should be contributing more money to my little family, just like she did. All she thinks about is money and her reputation, and it is sickening. Gloria is constantly comparing me to her perfect son Michael's fiancée, Deborah, F, 23. I can see why she thinks Michael is perfect, as he is a really down-to-earth guy, despite being a well-off doctor. He and I have been friends for years and he is actually the one who introduced me to Andrew. Deborah is perfect in Gloria's eyes because she works as an intern working towards helping kids suffering from cancer, while I just mindlessly hand people diner food. Deborah is also gorgeous with beautiful long blonde hair with big blue eyes and skin as smooth as a baby's, while I have short black hair, small dark eyes and blemishes on my skin. Gloria is constantly referring to Deborah as the daughter she never had, while I'm just the girl Andrew settled for. Gloria thinks Michael and Deborah are the perfect couple in Andrew and I need to try to be more like them. In fact, when I told Gloria I am pregnant, her response was, "Oh. While Deborah is saving children's lives, you will be busy screwing your child's life up. What a shame." WHO says that? I have come to expect mean comments from Gloria, even though I go beyond my means to impress her to try to be like Deborah. I have even gone as far as to ask Andrew what Gloria's favorite flowers were so I could surprise her with them for Mother's Day and bring her a nice gift. But, no matter what I do, she finds fault in my offerings and makes me look like the worst person on the planet. I just cannot please Gloria. Gloria's hatred of me began on day one of my relationship with Andrew. When we first started dating, I told Gloria I worked at a diner, and obviously that did not go over well. On my next date with Andrew the following weekend, he told me Gloria had set him up on a surprise blind date with her best friend's daughter immediately after meeting me because the other girl had a swanky office job and made a hefty salary with benefits. To this day, I am appalled she would try to pull that kind of stunt, when Andrew and I are clearly meant to be together. But obviously, she is all about money and status and I just don't fit her high expectations for her son and her family. Well, last night was one of the worst nights I have ever experienced with Gloria, and I was left embarrassed and crying, and I am still upset now. A few months ago, Gloria began planning her grand party, a super fancy party to celebrate her early retirement, which she achieved by working 14-hour days, 7 days per week at a publishing house. The party was going to be extremely extravagant to show off her ability to achieve retirement more than a decade ahead of the expected time, at the age of 50. She invited us to her party, only because Andrew happened to be there when she invited Michael and Deborah. Don't get me wrong, she loves Andrew, but this woman definitely does not like me, so I think I was invited because she felt obligated to include me. When she invited us, she gave Andrew specific instructions such as the location, time, and the dress code of the event. He was told we must look dazzling and rich, not homely like usual, which made me annoyed, but we prepared appropriately. I saved a few weeks' pay and bought a fancy dress, and Andrew bought a nice suit and tie. We would certainly look the part. Even though we thought we had it all figured out, I was dreading the party. I did not want to go. I am not much of a people person, for one. Secondly, I am terrified of Gloria, so why on earth would I want to go to a party that is basically just celebrating how awesome she thinks is? Yesterday was the day of the party and I had to work the day shift at the diner, as usual, and then I was to meet Andrew at the venue. I figured I would do my makeup and hair before work, do my shift, then spruce up and change at work before getting to the venue. I did not have much time between my shift and the party, but I figured I would have to make it work. I worked my shift as normal, with nice makeup and my hair slightly fancier than normal. After my shift, I went to my car, grabbed my dress and my shoes, and went back into work to put it on. I was still dreading going to the party but figured it would be fun to dress up for once and I would just try to have fun for once. I unzipped the dress cover, pulled the dress up and, to my surprise, the dress did not fit. I had picked the dress out a few weeks back, and being 19 weeks pregnant, I guess I got bigger, and my dress no longer fit me. I panicked and started thinking of my options. There were no options. I had no other dress, my house was too far to grab another one, plus I did not own anything else remotely fancy, and there was absolutely no time for me to go purchase another one. I did not know what to do, the clock was ticking, and I have a bit of pregnancy brain. So, I had to go to the party in my work outfit. My dumb black diner dress. As I drove there, I cried, as I knew the wrath I was about to face. As I cried, my makeup smeared down my panic-stricken face, making me look even worse. I showed up to the venue and found Andrew and Michael standing outside. I explained what had happened, and while Michael laughed it off and seemed understanding, Andrew seemed a little irritated at first. He then noticed I had been crying, as my makeup was smudged, and he became somewhat more understanding and told me that everyone should just be happy to have me there. I felt comforted by him, so I sucked it up and walked into the venue with Andrew and Michael by my side. I walked in and immediately regretted my decision. The other women were all dressed in ball gowns with embroidery and crystals and lace. Even the dress I had picked out would have stood out like a sore thumb. People began staring at me, immediately pointing, and whispering to each other. I swear I could hear laughter, and I know it was directed at me too, which made me feel so embarrassed. I just stood there in my stupid diner attire, a little black dress with white trim. I mean, I knew it was bad, but the gravity of the situation was about to sink in really quickly. Not even 5 minutes after we arrived, Gloria stormed over and pulled us into the hallway of the venue. She said she could not believe I would show up looking worse than her maid. In fact, exactly like a maid. She told me I have some nerve showing up like that, and that her rich friends were all asking why I was dressed that way. She even said she overheard one lady say, who invited the help. She demanded to know where my ball gown was. I told her what happened and that it could not fit, to which she threw her head back and said, "Oh, you are such a joke." Then she ripped my name tag off my chest, which I forgot I was even wearing, and she mockingly said, "Look at me, I'm Kate. Poor me. I'm so poor, I am dressed like a maid at a grand party. I just want everyone to feel bad for me because I work at a diner, making pennies an hour. I can't even afford this baby I'm carrying, but don't worry, my mother-in-law will bail me out, like she always does." She stood there fuming mad as I stood there embarrassed, but also fuming mad that she had the audacity to say such terrible things to me. I began to cry silently and did not know how to reply to such insults as those. I mean, what do you even say to that? Then she told us to leave and stormed off back to her party before I could even form a response. I left the party with my husband, feeling disgusted with her and myself. She has a way of making me feel like maybe I am not good enough for Andrew, or anyone for that matter. I hugged Andrew outside the venue and continued sobbing. We eventually parted ways, and I continued crying as I drove my car back home. I thought about the words Gloria said to us at the venue, and at this moment, I am very disappointed I didn't stand up for myself. The whole thing felt like such an attack, and I am left feeling confused and so hurt. I don't know what she means by her bailing me out, as she has never spent a dime on us or the baby I am carrying, and I don't plan on ever asking her for any help either. Today is the day after the party, and Gloria is blowing up our phones with voicemails and texts, scolding us, but mainly me, of my indecency at her party. Asking me how dare I embarrass her, that we are the talk of the town now, and that people should be talking about how grand her party was, not how cheap the guests were. Of course, she also keeps mentioning that Michael and Deborah look stunning, and that they think I should never have showed up looking like the train wreck I did. She also threw in there that if I'd stopped picking out on diner food, maybe I would have fit into my dress. My husband's support and the anticipation of having my child is the only thing keeping me sane at the moment. But even though my husband supports me and says his mom is out of line, and he does not want to talk to her anytime soon, I know Gloria is very manipulative and I worry she will convince him to leave me. She tends to know what to say to sway him and pin him against me, but maybe I am just being overly emotional due to pregnancy hormones. Also, I wish he would actually say something to his mom about how cruel she is being to me. I am not too sure what I'm hoping to get by posting this. But I guess I just want advice on what to do with someone like this. I am beyond stressed about this and I can't stop replaying the night of the party in my head. The constant messages from Gloria are not helpful either. Any advice is welcomed and is certainly needed. Update 1: It has been a couple months since I posted here, and I want to thank you all for your advice. Things got a lot worse since posting, so I thought I would leave an update. I started therapy shortly after writing my post, as I needed someone to vent to and my husband was not being very understanding. He tries to be supportive, but he is still loyal to his mom and, although I understand it must be hard for him, it does hurt. Gloria continued to be mean to me, and it feels good to have a therapist to talk to. Andrew mentioned I was in therapy to Gloria, and she laughed and said I must be crazy if I am in therapy. My therapist has made me realize that Gloria is toxic and abusive towards me. My therapist is trying to help me cope with the stress that Gloria puts me under, but I do have a piece of bittersweet news regarding that. Due to the stress I have been under because of Gloria, I went into preterm labor and gave birth 6 weeks early. The baby and I are doing fine, but the baby had to stay in the NICU for nearly a month, which caused Andrew to miss work for that entire time. He had only planned to take a few days off for the birth of the baby, so we were struggling to make ends meet and we needed money for our rent and baby formula. We were really in a bind and had absolutely no one to ask, so Andrew had to ask Gloria for money. Of course, I did not want to ask Gloria for money. But I also need to make sure my baby is fed, and we have a roof over our heads. I really did not know what else to do. That night at the party, her comment about her having to always bail us out stands out and races in my mind constantly, and I feel so ashamed. But I had no other choice. Gloria gave the money to Andrew, but I did not even dare to ask him what she said when she handed it over to him. I am still upset about the last thing she said to me when she came to pick us up from the hospital a few days ago. You know, you probably wouldn't have had that baby early if you weren't living off diner food scraps. This comment made my blood boil. I spoke with my therapist today and she said the cause of my preterm labor was probably actually due to the fact that I am under so much stress dealing with Gloria. She really does stress me out and make me so upset. Now that the baby is here, I want to try to focus on being a good mom to her and try to ignore Gloria. Since she was so early, she has some health issues, which makes it really hard on Andrew and me. Our constant challenges make ignoring the ruminating thoughts about Gloria nearly impossible. She is the reason I am struggling. She is the reason I have a sick baby. I will try to update you guys after I have done some more therapy. Hopefully things with Gloria will have improved if I can better myself. I just don't know anymore. Update 2: She tried to ruin my marriage. It has been a few months since my last update, and I have to say the last few months have been H. My therapy sessions quickly turned into couples counseling, as my husband and I began arguing constantly over Gloria. In one of our sessions, Andrew finally admitted what has been going on, and I am telling you, Gloria is going to pay for what she has done. So, I better start at the beginning. Shortly after we brought our baby girl home from the hospital, Andrew became distant and refused to change diapers, stopped helping around the house, and we argued nonstop. I spoke to my therapist about it, and she decided to have Andrew come in so we could sort out what was really going on. Our first session, we got nowhere because Andrew would not open up. However, during our second session, Andrew cried and began to spill out years of secrets he had been keeping regarding Gloria. For one, Gloria has been giving Andrew money the entire time we have been together. She even bought him the car he drives to work. Secondly, Gloria made an offer to Andrew shortly after the baby was born. The offer was that if he left me and the baby and proved it with signed divorce papers, she would buy him a house and give him a large sum of money. She promised him a fresh start and the ability to find a new wife that would be more suitable. Andrew admitted that the offer was very tempting, especially the money and home, as we had been struggling for so many years. But, as he sat there in tears, he promised he would not take the deal. He also said the stress Gloria put him under to take the offer was why he had been so distant over the last while. My therapist told us that Gloria is clearly trying to pin us against one another, and that she is very toxic. She also tried to get Gloria to come in with us for a session. Gloria declined by telling the therapist she is not a lunatic who needs therapy like me. Since the therapy session, Andrew has been very supportive and is helping me with the baby. I think the stress was also getting to us due to the fact that, because of Gloria, we had a premature baby, and my baby is sickly. We have a lot of doctor appointments for her, and she has a feeding tube with very expensive formula. Sometimes, I feel like Gloria has ruined my life, and my baby's life. It is not fair for her, or for Andrew, or for me. This whole offer and the fact that Gloria made me have a premature baby and all the rude comments, I just can't take it anymore. Michael and Deborah are getting married next month, and I plan to make that wedding the wedding of the century. I am going to embarrass Gloria, so she gets what she is coming to her. I just hope I have the courage to go through with my plan. Stay tuned. Update 3: Well, I have good news and bad news. I will start with the good news. Last week was Michael and Deborah's wedding night, and I had a somewhat wicked plan up my sleeve for Gloria to receive payback for everything she has put me through. You see, with Michael and Deborah both working for the hospital, their budget for the wedding was quite high, and Gloria, of course, matched that budget by buying a high-end, extravagant gown to wear to the wedding, which by the way cost more than a whole year's worth of my rent. Gloria had been going on and on about how darling her gown was and how special this wedding was and how it would be so much better than mine and Andrew's. She really knows how to get under my skin. We arrived at the wedding, and everyone was dressed to the nines, looking their absolute best. The venue for the wedding was very ritzy and the ceremony, I hate to admit, was very well put together, with even the release of doves while Michael and Deborah sealed the deal with a kiss. Gloria's dress looked just as expensive as she claimed, and she wore it proudly around, trying to steal the spotlight from Deborah. Even though Deborah and I don't really see eye to eye, I thought Gloria's attention-grabbing attempt was so rude. She also commented on my dress, which was the same one I intended to wear to her grand party months ago, saying I looked frumpy. That was a tough pill to swallow, seeing as I just had a baby. It was time for payback. At the reception, I took my glass of red wine and walked over to Gloria, pretending I was going to strike up a conversation. As I walked toward her, I pretended to trip over my dress, and spilled the dark red wine all over her lavender dress. She was livid. She told me I ruined her dress and mentioned that I must pay for it to be fixed or replaced. She also said I did it on purpose and she simply could not spend the rest of the night in a wine-stained dress. I calmly told her I had brought a spare dress in case the baby had spit up on me, and it was in the car. I told her that since the dress was flowy, and we were roughly the same size, she could wear that. Since Gloria had no other options and she desperately wanted to attend the rest of the reception, she agreed to wear the dress. I met up with her in the bathroom of the venue with the dress, which was none other than my diner dress. The very dress she had made fun of at her grand party months ago when she told me I looked worse than her maid. I refused to wear this. She protested. After nearly half an hour of convincing, Gloria wore the dress. She said she was only wearing it because she wanted to attend the reception and her dress was filthy. The reception went on, and it was speech time. Gloria went up to deliver her speech and I snapped a photo of her giving her speech in my diner dress. I posted it to social media with the caption, "Who invited the help?" Gloria felt so embarrassed the whole reception and she no longer trotted around trying to steal the spotlight from Deborah. In fact, Deborah came over to me near the end of the night and actually thanked me for allowing her to shine on her special night. Thank you to everyone who commented with words of support. This will be my last post. I really don't know where I will go from here, but it has been nice having people finally side with me about my crazy mill.